Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of WampaTime. My name is Canadian Guy A, and I am joined by my co-host of not just WampaTime, but also of our new channel, Canadian Guy Plays, Shep.
That's me. Hi.
Yeah, we are. I want to do a quick plug right away. We have opened up a secondary channel for the main channel. It's going to be a Let's Play channel, and so far, the first initial reaction for the first video is immensely positive so far.
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorites. I think out of everything that we're gonna be working on, I think that's still it's gonna be my favorite video.
Yeah, that was a great video. And the funny thing is that I swear it's like the fates align. The fact that glitch happened. If you want to find out, if you want to find out what that glitch is, you gotta check out that video. So
I break stuff.
Yeah. So the first game that we play is Sonic All Stars Racing. And it was it's a fun game so far. I'm still learning it. Shump is still crushing me. But hopefully we're going to have more episodes coming. More than just Sega, stuff from Sega, but from, of course, Crash, Spyro, and everything and beyond. But doing our quick little from our plug to a quick segue with Sega. Sega did do an oopsie doopsie this week.
They did kind of a hilarious oopsie doopsie. It's very minor, but it's still really, really funny.
Yeah, it's something you just poke fun at. It's nothing that's like, tremendously terrible like Cyberpunk. So basically what happened is that Sega is going to be publishing the new Persona Scramble, right?
Yeah, because Sega owns Atlas.
Right. So Sega had accidentally dropped a trailer for Persona 5 Scramble that, just gave more details, gave a little bit more footage, maybe, just a different trailer. And the big thing about it, though, was it gave the announcement of the date of when it was supposed to be coming out. But according to, speculation, we believe, that was an oopsie doopsie because they immediately privated the video.
Yeah, it's pretty safe to assume that wasn't supposed to go up because, no major AAA company is just like, you know what, take it down. I don't feel like messing with it. Just take it down. No, I feel like it's hey, George, did you make that trailer public? Yeah, boss, isn't that what you... Oh, no.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happened. It got taken down. Everyone was like, "What?" And then Sega saw that everyone saw, so they were like, whatever, just let it go public." And then went public again. Everyone's like, "Oh, cool, there it is." So yeah, it's February 20-something, 23rd. Really, yeah, it's very soon because it came out in Japan like a year ago. I think over a year ago.
Right.
And people were clamoring for a Western release, and after Persona 5 Royal came out, there was you could take a survey, and one of the questions was like, would you like an English version of Persona 5 Scramble? And all of the fans were like, are you not listening? Do you really need to question that?
Yes, we do. And
yeah, just say yes.
But I do want to make a little bit of speculation and just, maybe not speculation, but throwing a question out there. What was the trailer intended for?
I don't know. I'm wondering if they meant... Because it's very soon, so I'm wondering if they meant to upload it and then announce it like on a certain day, maybe on like maybe one of the Persona games had an anniversary coming up, or maybe they were just like, oh, our favorite day to upload trailers is on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and then they were like, oops, I meant today.
You see, because I'm always intrigued by that stuff, because like if there's like a PlayStation showing coming up, because nowadays everyone's following Nintendo's footsteps of letting people know the day before. Like, oh yeah, by the way, the Direct is tomorrow. And it's like, what?
Speaking of Direct,
segue.
Like you were just saying, Nintendo's not the only one who likes to do Directs. Everyone likes to do Directs. I think the first company to do a big one was PlayStation with their PlayStation, whatever it's called. But now everyone's experience. It was, for some reason I wanted to say All Access, but no, it's not called All Access. But Capcom is doing their own thing, but not just Capcom. They're specifically doing a Resident Evil Direct because Resident Evil 8, or just Village, whatever you want to call it, is coming out this year, and there hasn't been very much info on it. All that we've known is Chris is back, and he looks like an absolute unit. He is giant. So not only are they doing the direct, but they're doing something cool that I like when companies do this. They're releasing, you have to search for it, but there is a free code that you can go download for a Resident Evil 4 avatar. Not 4, cool. I'm sorry, a Resident Evil 8 avatar. And it's of the new lady that popped up in the trailer, which, by the way, is like 7'3".
I saw her trending on Twitter. Yeah, I saw pictures of her floating around Twitter, and yeah, she's big.
And I think she's like a spider lady, because people are speculating that there's like, or no, not a spider. She's a vampire. So instead of like zombies, it's vampires and werewolves now. Which, okay, to be fair, I'm cool with that. Mm-hmm. I'm totally fine with doing something weird and kooky like this, because didn't RE4 have something like this, where like there was like a castle?
I don't play a lot. I did not play a lot of Resident Evil, if not at all. I'm not a big.
Okay, yeah, me neither.
Yeah. So, but my question is though about the things about Resident Evil Village was that its initial trailer. Now, of course, it's the initial trailer. There were a lot of frame rate drop. Like, it looked like an optimization nightmare.
Oh yeah, because I'm wondering if they started out on the PS4 and then they're moving every resource to PS5.
That might be it.
But the trailer they saw was from PS4. But I'm hoping, I so hope that there's not a PS4 version. I really hope it's just PS5.
Yeah, I'm noticing a lot of these games are cross generation, though some of them are using it really well. I want to see what an exclusive PlayStation 5 title, like a title developed for PS5, only for PS5, or a title developed for Series X and only Series X, or even just the next gen.
You could argue Godfall is that, but I mean, not really. Like, I don't like. I see what you mean. I want like a AAA game like this, because like. The fact whenever it comes out cross generation, it makes it less impressive for me, because it just tells me, oh, it's a PS4 game with the graphics souped up. It's like if you played Rayman 2 on PC, but on a GTX 3080, and you turn up all the graphic settings and mod the hell out of it to make it look super beautiful. Yeah, that's not impressive. It's an old game.
Yeah.
So like what we said with Spider-Man, Miles Morales, great game, but it's just a PS4 game.
Yeah, and the thing is too is that funny enough, which we'll talk about later on, which is about Cyberpunk. But that's what actually happened with Cyberpunk. Was actually the problem is that when you develop a game that's cross-generation, you have to make sure that it functions as really well on the base port, the port that it needs to be for. So
you start with the lowest common denominator to make sure you have your bases covered. Mm-hmm. So the only way you can go from there is up. So you start. That's what Cyberpunk initially did. They were developing it for the original Xbox One, but for some reason they were like, "What if we just didn't do that?"
Yeah. So later on, which we will talk about, they were doing that originally, but then they flipped it. And they started to make sure that it ran the best as possible on the PC version, and then try to get everything else to adapt to the PC version. And it's like, no, that's not.
Yeah,
that's not going to work.
PC games with console ports usually aren't the greatest. Like, I remember in high school, Skyrim on the PS3 was borderline unplayable with the amount of crashing that I had to deal with. Same with Oblivion, just because. One, it was the PS3, and the cell architecture was already a nightmare to go with. But at the basis, it's a PC game, so you're having to like bottleneck these settings, and the game was meant for flexible settings. So it's understandable that Cyberpunk on PC runs the best, but still has all those problems. Yeah. But yeah, in terms of Resident Evil, I assume they have their bases covered. I don't remember. I'm really impressed with the RE engine. The fact that RE2 and 3 on the PS4, base PS4, and base Xbox One can run at 60 FPS. That's extremely impressive.
Yeah. And you know what? I will say, though, that the game coming out this year, there's a number of games being delayed this year, and I'm shocked we haven't heard anything about Resident Evil being delayed. Because that's
good point.
Because usually you start to hear about that stuff, and of course, speaking of delays, that's going to segue into our next area, which is the Hogwarts Legacy game. So I believe was it the Game Awards that the trailer premiered for this?
It was the Game Awards, but I don't know if it was the same trailer or an early trailer or a behind closed door thing that was leaked like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. There was a big, it was, you could tell that there was like a prototype thing. Really, I don't think it was 2 or 3 years ago. I think it was like a year and a half.
This was because I want to say it was that long ago, because at the time the big rumor around that leaked footage was that Rocksteady was working on it, but they're not. Yeah. So I'm wondering if they like Rocksteady pitched something and they made that trailer internally.
Yeah. You know what? That could definitely be something like the Big Red Button thing with Crash Bandicoot, where they pitched a thing for Crash through Big Red Button with the Crytek engine. But anyway, Hogwarts Legacy was announced. It's a Hogwarts MMO. Or a Harry Potter MMO, which honestly, it is such a great idea to not just rehash the games again. They're like, hey, what if we just made a neutral setting where you get picked into a house, you practice your witchcraft and wizardry, and then you eventually go off on your own as a wizard or witch. And honestly, I think that's a really good idea. I think
I like that. That's neat.
Yeah, it's got a lot of depth to it. It allows them, but most importantly, it allows them to tell new stories. Because once you craft that world, it's like, okay, you have the rules for the world, you have all these characters, and now you can build something new. And I think that that's going to be really, really interesting. Well, like the fate of many games that have been announced the past 6 months, it has been delayed to 2022.
And like right as 2021 was hitting, they're like, hey guys, we're not going to have it out this year. And you know what? I respect that. Yep. I respect that they didn't pull a Cyberpunk, which that's going to be the new like low bar. Yeah. I'm glad they didn't pull a Cyberpunk and just release and be like, we'll fix it later, especially for an MMO, because if you botch an MMO day one, that's it. Like you sealed its fate. But
sorry to interrupt. Sorry, just before I lose my train of thought. Sorry. My buddy had a game like that. I think it was called WildStar, where things.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, where it was an MMO that he really enjoyed, but it just didn't do great day one, and then eventually,
I remember that.
And then it just eventually just internally exploded over time, and it was just like the developers didn't even want to develop for the game anymore, and it all just fell apart. So you are 100% correct in that. You know, day one MMOs, people are obviously going to have to deal with server issues and stuff like that, and that's par for the course. But you know, you have to make sure that you do it well. And the thing is that this is Harry Potter. This is. The J.K. Rowling has more money than the Queen of England. Like, think about that.
That's fair. Yeah, right? And luckily, so everyone on the internet can breathe a sigh of relief. J.K. Rowling is nowhere near involved with this game or this project in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. My thing though is this game was announced during the pandemic. Yeah. And it's being delayed most likely because of the pandemic. Yeah. So, like, if you knew everyone was working at home potentially, and this game is a big deal, because, you know, I can't imagine allocating all the server space and the online functionality from home. But, like, you had all this time to think, maybe we should hold off. Because, like, you could announce it and then be like, hey, 2022. Because realistically, we may not meet that deadline. And again, it doesn't look like they're going to meet that deadline, especially for a game that's coming out. It's still slated to come out on PS4 and Xbox One, as well as PS5 and Series X. Right. So a 2022 game on PS4, it's like, do we even bother with this SKU for that? Or do we just axe it and focus on PS5?
And they might want to do that. And I think that, again, I keep referring to Cyberpunk because there's so many lessons to be learned from the failure of Cyberpunk. And there's almost like a cynical, happy reason I'm happy that Cyberpunk released the way it did, because it was such an iconic star in the gaming industry that everyone was looking to, and it blew up so spectacularly, so epically, and so badly that it made every single game company maybe look at themselves and say, maybe we got to change the way we do things. And that's, you know, again, I hate to refer to Cyberpunk again, because we are talking about Cyberpunk later on, but it is so current and it is so effective in today's industry. And I feel like that is Hogwarts delaying it to 2022 is a very, very overall positive idea. And I think dropping the PS4 and Xbox One support is a good idea because, in all honesty, the previous generation of consoles were very anemic. They weren't. If you look at the power of the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 compared to the PS4 and the Xbox One, it wasn't as big as a jump between the PS4 and the PS5 or the Xbox One and the Series X. It's a much bigger jump, and the only thing that's going to be doing is it's going to be holding it back. And I think that Hogwarts Legacy taking its time, going, hey, 2022, and I think that's fair enough, 100%. We don't need this game to be ruined. We don't need it to be ruined. We want this game to last for a long time. Because if I'm correct too, the company that's making it is Portkey Games, but it's just a label underneath WB, right?
From what I've seen, it's actually Avalanche Studios.
Is it Avalanche? Oh, is it okay? So it's Avalanche. So is it just another label of Avalanche?
I only see Avalanche. Give me one quick sec.
Yeah, it's weird that they say on their announcement here, from our Portkey Games label. That's where.
Yeah, it just says developer Avalanche. That's weird. That's very weird. Odd.
But I digress. The point is that they are taking the right path with this. They're doing something smart. They're delaying it. And, again, I can hear people say, but they delayed Cyberpunk. What's the difference? The difference is again, Cyberpunk was an example to everybody of how not to do things. Cyberpunk was an example of announcing a game way too early.
Mm-hmm.
And then
8 years too early.
8 years. That's just way too early. And then hyping it up and then just jamming it out for release. There are many things that they could have bit the bullet on to make sure that they made the best quality game possible and not have to constantly remake the game from the ground up. Speaking of remake, though.
Ooh, yeah. Again?
Yeah, segue. So if you've been paying attention to the Pokemon Company, the past, I would say decade. I think decade would be a good indication. They've been slowly but surely remaking Pokemon generations. They back in the Game Boy Advance, they had Leaf Green, Fire Red, and Leaf Green, right? Mm-hmm. Which were remakes of the original Kanto games. Then they had Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and then which came out on that was the 3DS, right? 3DS, yes.
Yeah.
And then because I couldn't remember if it was DS or 3DS, but and then they had they had Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Then they had Alpha. Alpha Sapphire, Omega Ruby, right?
Yes. No Emerald.
No Emerald. Yeah, which I'm a little bit shocked by. But I digress. The point is that everyone's been like, okay, where's the fourth gen? Where's the Diamond and Pearl? And according to Centauro Pokemon, I believe it's Centauro Pokemon. It's Centro Pokemon. According to Centro Pokemon, they are a very reliable source, to be honest. They have been releasing leaks everywhere for Pokemon. They have been on it since when I discovered them back when Pokemon Shield came out, Pokemon Sword and Shield. They were the ones that were leaking all the models of the characters. They were leaking information, the abilities, the skills, etc., names, etc. They were the leakers, and everyone was just paying attention to them. So, and among other things too, when they had the expansion that came out for Sword and Shield, I can't remember what they're called.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what they're called, but I sell them a lot at work. What are they called?
That's gonna bug me.
Get it.
Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah. So they leaked information about that, about all the characters and stuff like that. They were showing off the models for the new Pokemon introduced in the DLC. They went through and they just leaked everything as much as possible. So I would validate these guys pretty good. In fact, I'm just looking at their Twitter page right now, and there's the Pokemon game. What was it? The Pokemon Unite? Was that the MOBA game?
Yeah, I forgot about Pokemon Unite. Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're going to be doing skins in the game, and I'm looking at skins that they just leaked. Lucario has an Aaron skin from the movie, Lucario and the Mystery of Mew. They have a Buccaneer outfit for, I can't remember the name now. They have a Top Hat Mr. Mime. They have a snorkeling Garchomp. You know, they have a Hawaiian Machamp. And I'm seeing all these skins, and they just leaked it. They literally just leaked this about 2 days ago. So these guys are really good. Well, they have came forward and said that they have sources saying that Pokemon Diamond and Pearl is coming back they're going to be announcing it apparently in February. February is going to be the month where they are going to announce the alleged Diamond and Pearl remakes, and it's coming to Nintendo Switch.
A lot of stuff happening in February, you know?
Yeah, a lot of stuff happening. So they're announcing it in February, and let me see if they actually have a release date here. I'm curious because I'm not 100% sure if they do, but the fact is that another thing that a lot of people were wondering as well, because we also kind of had another remake that came out on the Switch, which was Pokemon Let's Go. Right?
Yes, I was going to bring that up, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that they're like, okay, we don't know. We didn't know. Well, according to them, they are saying the Pokemon company plans to officially reveal the remakes of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl for Nintendo Switch in February. According to sources close to the company, in addition, this new installment will be different from Pokemon Let's Go, the remake of Kanto released in 2018, maintaining the classic Pokemon capture style.
Okay, so it's not a Let's Go. It's not a Pokemon Go game.
No. And apparently there's going to be because we just found out that Pokemon Snap was just announced, the new Pokemon Snap, which I am excited for. Looking at the trailer, it looks nice. It looks
it looks
really good.
It looks super pretty. I'm surprised, not really surprised, but I'm very impressed with what the visual quality that Switch is pushing out.
Yeah,
I'm wondering if they're getting that game 4K ready for the rumored new Switch.
Yeah, I would think so. I think that would be something that because imagine too that it's an actual photo mode, and you could probably print 4K resolution photos. I think that would be a really interesting idea to save it and then go print it off. Now, the Pokemon Snap is coming out on April 30th, and they also say that Katy Perry is going to collaborate with the company in producing a theme song for Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
So there's a lot coming here, and no word on the one thing that a lot of people have been asking for is Let's Go Johto, which is the remake of Heart Gold and Soul Silver, or just Silver and Gold, but done in the Let's Go style. So people are predicting that they want to do one remake, which is the Let's Go style, and then a typical remake, and switching in between.
Man, I'm just so sick of remakes, dude. I just like, come on, man. You could argue Let's Go is new enough, but like, just do something, man. Like, if you're gonna pump out a Pokemon game this quickly, if you're gonna treat it like a Call of Duty where you're pumping one out like every year or so, just do more spin-offs. Like, you got Pokemon Snap, new Pokemon Snap. God, I hate that name. You have new Pokemon Snap. You had Pokemon Mystery Dungeon remake that no one saw coming. That was super cool. Maybe you could do like another stupid Hey You Pikachu and sell a Switch mic because everyone's gonna buy a Switch mic. Maybe you could do something like, I don't know,
and a
new Mystery Dungeon game. Oh my god, like Hey You Pikachu HD. It's just everyone screaming with like just like gamer mics. Like there's so many possibilities, and that's stuff I really hope they get into. And speaking of new possibilities, this is a big one. Going into main news. All right, main news. So you know EA? Of course you do. I hate them. So back in like 20 whatever, Disney signed a deal with EA to make EA the Star Wars game developer / publisher. So instead of Disney focusing on making their own games like they used to with all their licensed stuff like, you know, Ratatouille and WALL-E and Cars and stuff like that, where they would develop the games, they were like, you know what? that's too expensive. We don't recoup the cost for those games. That's I think the last one they did was Disney Infinity when they got onto the Skylanders Toys to Life craze, and it didn't sell as near as well as Skylanders did. So they axed it and they shut down their game studio. So they're like, you know what, EA, you handle it. You know what, we're gonna go make movies and stuff. You handle the games. And EA was like, all right. Money. So then they made the worst things. And then they made Jedi Fallen Order, which was okay. And then, you release Battlefront 2 and you cause the U.S. government to get involved. So that's a lot of fun. So it was a big ride, like just up and down and all around. So color me surprised and the entire internet surprised when Ubisoft comes out and they're like, hey, so we're going to make a Star Wars game. And everyone was like, yo, what now? So from what I'm understanding from everything is that I think Disney is just going to be handing Star Wars to everyone. Like, hey, you make a game, you make a game, you make a game, you make a game. And EA is still going to be doing their things. Like they're doing a Jedi Fallen Order sequel because their deal extends to 2023. So right. I think Disney was like, hey, if you want to keep making Star Wars games, you're going to let other people make Star Wars games. Because you know what that brings? Competition. Mm-hmm. And you know what competition strives for? Quality. You don't want your Star Wars game to look awful while Ubisoft Star Wars games are going to look cool. Because that's going to be an open world Star Wars game. Like the one that EA canceled.
Mm-hmm. And
so,
it's definitely intriguing though, because I am... You see, while that is very exciting, I'm very, very excited to see what Ubisoft is going to do. I feel like this year, when it came to the games that they released, it wasn't great this year. I'm playing through Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It's fine. It's fine.
That's what I've heard. If you're not clipping through the floor, it's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm finding a lot of minor glitches that are annoying. There's a mini game in. I know I'm going a little bit off the side here, but it is kind of funny. There's a mini game because you're Vikings, right? And apparently, according to Ubisoft, all Vikings were just raging alcoholics. And duh. Culture, no alcohol. So basically, there's a mini game where it's literally you have to you bet money, and then the other person bets the equal amount of money, and then you chug beer, and whoever can get through 4 horns of beer first wins, and that's the mini game. And
cool.
There's a glitch that I keep seeing, and it's kind of funny, where the beer horn just disappears, and people are just like holding on to nothing, and like in cutscenes and cinematics as well, where like they're sipping on a mead or something like that in the middle of a cutscene, or ale or whatever, and they're just sipping, and they're sipping on nothing. And
that's great.
It's just like little glitches like that, or you're in a cutscene and someone's talking but their lips aren't moving, but their hands and like faces are, but their lips are just like closed. I keep getting glitches like that, and while I just sigh, I'm like, it's not.
Yeah, it's not game breaking, but you can tell the good old Ubisoft charm.
Yeah.
But if Ubisoft's making a Star Wars game and it's going to be a big open world game, let's say I don't know, Disney lets who was the developer that did the pod racing game? They could do another pod racer for the Nintendo. Like Nintendo could do another pod racer for the Switch. Yeah. Then we could have another bounty hunter game because people really like Star Wars Bounty Hunter. Yeah. We could have another not a Force Unleashed, but like a game similar to that. Mm-hmm. We could have Warner Brothers is already publishing the Lego Star Wars games. So that basis is already covered. So like you have to think back in like the late 90s all the way to the 2010s, Activision was the only Marvel publisher. So like the only Marvel games were coming out were from Activision, except for like the one weird one from Konami for the GameCube called like Marvel Nemesis, where it's like a weird 3D fighting game. It was still competition. But imagine if like everyone had a shot at a Marvel game in that same time period. So Activision releases a Spider-Man game, and then EA releases a Wolverine game, and then Ubisoft releases an Iron Man game, and it's like, whoa, look at, actually, no. I forgot. Sega did Iron Man, so there was competition.
Right.
But it wasn't good. So, we live in a better age now.
Yeah, but the point that I'm trying to make is that I kind of wish that it didn't go to Ubisoft, and I kind of
me too.
It would go to a different studio, especially with all the fiascos that have happened in the past year with all what's going on internally at Ubisoft. And no offense to Ubisoft, whatever engine that they're using, their outdated engine, whatever it is that they're using for Assassin's Creed, for Far Cry, for whatever engine they're using, please change it. It's the same. Like, I keep seeing the same technical glitches where we cut in between, where we cut from one angle and we cut to another angle, and the character's hair frizzes out for a second and then goes back to normal. Or that classic bug that I see in every Ubisoft game. Yeah, where the hair is all over the place. Or you cut to a new scene, and I saw a T-posing pig, and then it went to standing perfectly fine, and I was like, all right, that was
T-posing pig. That's
T-posing
awesome.
Pig. Oh, it was great. It was great. I don't want to see more. I want to choose my words wisely here. I don't want to see more fine games coming from Ubisoft that has the Star Wars tag, because right now EA has the fine or abysmal. It's because what's going to happen is that even if a Star Wars game that comes out that is absolutely excellent, 10 out of 10, brilliant, amazing, if it's bogged down by all these other studios creating it's just going to become a Star Wars video game. Everyone's just going to go right?
Yeah, just like with a Call of Duty, every time a new Call of Duty came out, it was just like, oh, another Call of Duty. Same thing with Watch Dogs. When Watch Dogs came out, it was like, oh, neat. And then Watch Dogs 2 came out, and it was like, oh, again. And then Legions came out, and they were like, another one?
Yeah.
They really gonna keep going?
Yeah, and you see, for me, like Assassin's Creed, I always get excited for Assassin's Creed because there are different teams working on it. There's always a new team on it, but also it's like, what I love about it is the different time periods. You see,
yeah, which is something we discussed, I think, where new Assassin's Creed, like if you look at the box art, they no longer focus on the look at this guy. It's like, look at this environment.
Yeah, they're definitely selling the idea of like, oh yeah, look at the new time area that you're going. And as someone who loves history, I'm a sucker for that. And I'm playing through Valhalla, and I'm like, okay, I'm enjoying it, but I already know I'm going to buy the next Assassin's Creed. I already know it. I know it. And I'm ashamed to say that, but I already know I'm going to buy the next Assassin's Creed because I enjoy the history aspect of the franchise. I really do enjoy that, and I still think Assassin's Creed 2 and Assassin's Creed Black Flag were the best Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone would agree with you.
Yeah. And Ubisoft didn't show its first issues, its first exposure of problems until Assassin's Creed 3. Assassin's Creed 3 was rough. Then Black Flag came out. Now, okay, then they restabilized. And then, was it Syndicate? No, not Syndicate.
Unity. It was Unity. Unity is the one that everyone was like, where's the game?
Yeah, Unity was awful. Unity was terrible. And then I also think that we need to drop the whole Animus thing. I know we're going on a little bit of a tangent. Sorry. But we need to drop the whole Animus thing because it's not making sense anymore. It's literally like, okay, we have this story, we have this game, we have all these things that are awesome. Oh yeah, that's right. We have the real life aspect that we have to tie in. It's like, no, you don't need to. You don't need that anymore.
No, you can just make a video game, you know?
Yeah.
Remember those?
Speaking of just making a video game.
This is the wrong segue, dude. This is the wrong segue. There's no Oh, I get it. Okay, let's talk Cyberpunk.
All right, here we go. Cyberpunk. Oh boy. Our latest piñata. Stadia has been cowering in the corner, which actually, fun fact, I gotta give something to Stadia. I actually have something ironic to give to Stadia. According to many reviewers, if you have the best internet, so you gotta have like the gigabit internet, If you have the best internet, Cyberpunk is currently best played on Google Stadia.
Good job. You know what? Good job, Stadia. I said it before, and now the journalists are agreeing with me. Stadia has Cyberpunk, so you heard it here first. If you want to play Cyberpunk, go ahead and get yourself a Stadia subscription. I heard they're just giving that out like candy.
There you go. So first thing that Stadia actually did good by somehow making it a garbage game run decently. So good job. And garbage game in terms of optimization.
Good job, Stadia. So, we've talked about Sega doing an oopsie doopsie and Pokemon doing an oopsie doopsie, but Cyberpunk themselves have said, listen, we made an oopsie doopsie. So the CEO of CD Projekt Red comes out on a video and he goes, oops. And he details this.
Just the timing of that. Just, oops. No kidding.
And then he shows a roadmap, which is like, oh, really? You're going to pull one of these out? So they said, listen, the game was bad, so we will make it good. And people were like, okay, I'm listening. And then this roadmap comes out, and it's like, okay, what's going on? So I'm going to detail you I'm going to show you the roadmap real fast while I detail it to the audience. So we have the release, right? And then we have all the hot fixes that they just rushed out over the holiday season. And then we get 2021, right? We got patch 1.1, patch 1.2. All right. And then we have this giant brick that just says multiple updates and improvements. And it's like, you didn't, are those not planned? Are you just saying that you're going to update it whenever you feel like? And they said, okay, we're going to give you some free DLCs and okay, free next gen console update. Okay. At the end of 2021. So almost next year. Will we get the versions we were promised this year?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, last year.
Oh man. Oh man. This is okay.
And now the funny part, I'm on their website, and underneath the roadmap, they have an FAQ, and one of the first questions is, why is there such a gap between PC versions of Cyberpunk and old gen consoles? And they said, listen, we made it on PC and it works better there, and those old consoles just kind of suck, dude. So like,
you announced the game 8 years ago.
And they were like, no one would have. No, listen, no one saw this coming. Okay, don't even bother.
Oh my gosh! And the fact that he came forward and he apologized, but I mean, a little late. Like it's what?
Yeah,
it's January, and you came out in what was it? November? Did it come out in November?
Yeah, it's almost 2 months old.
Yeah, and it's been on the top of headlines of people just beating the snot out of it for months and months, including us. And what was really interesting is a really interesting reporter that I always like to watch is Jason Schreier.
Yeah,
he does pretty good. He moved from Kotaku and he's now over at Bloomberg, so that's pretty cool. But he actually did an interview with 20 current and former CD Projekt Red staff, and he boiled it down to a few things of what happened with Cyberpunk. And it was unchecked ambition, technical woes, unrealistic deadlines, and above all, there was one belief that I guess everyone was believing in. It was, we made The Witcher 3. It'll just work out.
Holy ego, Batman.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That is such I didn't read that. That makes me cringe. Yeah. Oh my God. What makes you think we could do this? Listen, have you seen how cool we are? Boss, I don't think that's how that works. Hey boss, it says we ship tomorrow, but we just started today. How's that gonna work? Bro, we are epic. What are you talking about?
We made The Witcher 3, man. Like,
I wasn't on that team. I'm a new hire. Yeah, me too. Same here. All right. How many of you are new hires? Everyone raises their hand and they're like, it's fine. We're cool.
It's fine. It's fine. But that's what I mean is that like what CD Projekt Red, honestly, I think their marketing team was also was not just their what sold the game, but is also going to be what kills them, because the marketing team did such a good job that they sold the game so well, and now a lot of people are like not exactly happy with the game. And then there are people who are now, and there are people that are enjoying the game, and that's great. But even people who are enjoying the game think, yeah, this game's kind of not ready. It's kind of half baked. It's not ready to go. And this roadmap makes me laugh because now I'm thinking, how many times is this roadmap going to get delayed? I want to know.
And like you say half baked, I say undercooked. Like you pop it in, you're like, yeah, it looks good. You pop it out immediately. Now something that gets me is I'm still on their FAQ, and here's another question that says, question, didn't you test old gen consoles to keep tabs on the experience? Answer, we did. As it turned out, our testing did not show many of the crashes you experienced while playing the game. As we got closer to launch, we saw significant improvements each and every day, and we really believed we'd deliver in the final Day Zero update. So you're telling me that when you played this pile of cinema game, whatever you want to call it, on a base PS4, and you saw everyone T-posing out of their car with their pants off, and you're like, that looks good.
That's fine. That's fine. This is fine. I don't understand.
I don't get it, because we saw the footage before. They knew about this.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what. I don't understand why they're wrapped up in this lie. Like, yeah, we played it. You guys just suck. Like, our consoles are cool. We got the cool ones. Sony hooked us up. You know, they gave us this PS4 and it just works. So honestly, you should just get a better PS4. You know. Yeah,
and you see that this is where you're 100% right, and I don't understand it either. I don't get how they looked at specifically, I want to see the Xbox One version, how they looked at that and deemed it as shippable. Now, I understand games, you can't test for every single bug and glitch. I get it. But the thing is that it is such a mass report of bugs and glitches for the base gen consoles. It's painful. It's actually painful. Where you're right. There are people that are driving down the street butt naked, T-posing,
like asserting dominance in the best way possible.
Yeah, basically. And the thing is that sounds like a joke. It's not. They're on the roof of a car, naked, T-posing, and driving down the road.
And that's just one of the 50 common glitches that you'll see.
Right.
Another one is just you talking to characters and they just T-pose out of their animation for no reason while talking to you.
And then quests lock because certain characters died when they weren't supposed to. There was also another bug that I saw. The common bug that I constantly saw were LOD bugs, which they were awful, where you walk up to the car and the car looks
PS1
like,
people.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the car looks like a giant smear of garbage, and then all of a sudden it goes, it's good now.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, sick. And I'm gonna keep coming in with FAQs. Here's a real question. What was the main issue that made development for consoles so difficult? And their answer boils down to, our game is just so awesome, the old consoles couldn't keep up with it. But whereas the real answer is, we had to improve our in-game streaming system for old-gen consoles. You mean the one you used for The Witcher? Yeah. That was on the old consoles?
Yeah, exactly. No, this is... the Cyberpunk roadmap is just a joke at this point.
It's hilarious.
I don't believe one iota that they're going to stay on schedule. I don't. No, there's too much
not
of it.
At all.
The game to be able to run properly on previous gen, right, from what I've been hearing, is that they would need to have to almost rewrite the game from the ground up for the previous gen, and I can promise you they're not going to do that. They will not. They will not patch the game from the ground up to make it functional, because the thing is that there's only the game is too big. The game is too big for previous gen. That's it, period. Mm-hmm. Like what Jason Schreier here is, unchecked ambition. Was it an ambitious project? Oh, you bet. Yes, it was ambitious. 100%. But there is such thing as over ambitious to the scope of a project that you have. And that's exactly what happened. The project was just way too big for that current gen. And the thing is that I can't see them being able to downgrade the game anymore or be able to patch it anymore for the base consoles to function at a decent rate, because honestly, it's just too big of a game. It's a game that should just stuck on next gen and PC and call it a day. Because previous gen, even on the pros in the Series X or the One X's, they're still not running well. And I think that they should have canceled the previous gen and just move on with the next gen. Speaking of cancellations, segue.
Oh yeah, I'll let you take this one since you have more to say, and then I'm gonna pitch in with something that might get punched.
That's the way of putting it. All right, so a lot had happened last week in the Crash Bandicoot community, and a lot of people in the Crash Bandicoot community are not happy. They're not happy. So last week,
morning.
So last week on Reddit, a user popped on named Pert Kelly or Kelly Pert. She had popped on, and she had came out and announced that the Crash Bandicoot cartoon, which has been rumored now for almost a year, has been canceled. Now, it was just a text body. There was no evidence, nothing to prove anything. And I was like, okay. And she got kind of doubted, and people were definitely attacking and doubting her. Which, fair enough. We found out later on that she was a writer. Well, she got angry and turned around and dropped the files of the visual Bible, like the thing that you would send to people, and 2 test animations that are full on Ed, and Eddie, Looney Tunes, absolute Gumball, absolute nuts animation that is super fast, super crazy, and then just called it a day. So yeah, people were like, wow, I guess they were part of the project, and this was this was it. This was going to be the idea. Now, there's a lot to break down from this. There's a lot. We found out that it's canceled, and the reason why, according to her, which now has been like, there's a debacle going on, was the use of a one single joke that was like Activision and Amazon and the animation company couldn't agree on, and finally one of the studios, was unclear who, pulled the plug on the whole project.
Yeah, and I think we all later learned that it was just like a fart joke or something like that.
Actually, I've heard different.
Okay, what did you hear? Because I would please hope to God that they didn't cancel that over that.
So, what I had heard, it was not a fart joke, and in fact, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna actually go there because I want to make sure the identity of people are covered. I want to make sure. So I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna tell you what the joke was, but but overall, it was not a fart joke. Okay. That's what I know. It was not a fart joke that was causing the cancellation of the entire project. It wasn't that at all. What we do know is that the facts of the matter, the fact was there was a Crash Bandicoot cartoon that was being developed. It got canceled. It was being animated by, and which you can tell, there's someone named Bill Kopp. He runs a studio. He was he was behind anime. I don't know if it was his studio or if he was with Amazon. It was between the animation studio and Activision, and Amazon was going to distribute it.
Okay, yeah.
So something happened within those 3 parties that caused one of those 3 parties to just pull out. So that's
and to be fair, that is something you run into a lot with licensed things like this. Like I mentioned in my new episode of Collectathon, in terms of video game preservation, for example, we talk about the Amazing Spider-Man 2 video game, whereas it's similar to this because you have Activision, the publisher of the game, made a deal with Marvel, the owner of the character, to make the game, which is a game about a movie that Sony made, which Sony has a contract with Marvel, and Activision had to sign a deal with Sony to make sure they can make the game. So we have all these contracts going around just to make this one product. And with this cartoon, yes, you have Activision licensing their IP to the animation studio, who signed a deal with Amazon, and Amazon and Activision are talking about distributing it. And, you know, if one thing goes wrong with one person in one of those three companies, the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah, exactly.
And so what I was going to say is, first off, we should mention that there were two pilots that were released, and there was the same scene. They were just animated different styles. The first one was, quote, hand drawn, so every scene was drawn by an artist, whereas the second one was made in presumably Flash. So one is a lot more expressive and a little more clean, and has a lot more dynamic lighting because of Flash, and one looks a little more smoother because it has the old-timey hand-drawn feel. Yeah. Obviously, the one in Flash looks a little bit better. It's a lot more expressive. Every character is like proportioned correctly and everything. Yeah. It was just the same scene. It was like 30 seconds, and it was just a... Yeah, same audio, and it was a pilot. The only thing the pilot does is you show it to the businessmen in the board meeting. It's not even a pilot,
it's a test. It's a test.
Yeah,
it's a tester.
Not a pilot. Yeah. It's a test animation to be like, hey, here's the feel we're going for. Here's a quick 30 seconds. Here, this sets up the characters. This sets up the background. This sets up everything that we're working on. Yada yada blah whatever. Yeah. Now, usually the test animation is a good representation of what you want the final product to be.
Right.
And what I took away from this is that it's very, very loud and busy. There is a lot going on. Right. Every time you blink or think of breathing, something new is happening.
Right.
And I know more than anyone, I hate when this stuff happens. I absolutely despise when something like this ambitious that gets this far into production is just canceled because of something this stupid. And I'm hoping maybe it gets a Deadpool treatment where it's like, hey, we're canceling this. Here's the footage. Oh, people like it. Let's resurrect it. Maybe something like that.
Right.
But personally, I don't think I would have really enjoyed this cartoon. It looks just a little too much for me. It doesn't scream Crash. It screams like a modern day kids cartoon. Like Teen Titans Go, which I don't know if anyone over the age of me enjoys. I would have like watched it out of like, oh, I'm a Crash fan. I have to see it. I'm gonna like do a video on it and stuff like that. But it doesn't seem like something I would go out of my way to watch. I feel like it would have been there, and I would have been proud and happy that it's there. But I wouldn't really have touched it just from what I've seen.
So, You see, I'm in a weird spot about that because it's hard to base off of the entire episode feel off of that 30 seconds. Because my question is why did they only have 30 seconds to show it at board meeting?
I'm wondering if they just... Oh, they also had the animation Bible, so maybe they were like, all right, you got an hour, or you got like 30 minutes, so show us what you got. Okay, here's a cleaned up... Because I know animation takes a while. Like it can take a long while, so it's like, all right, let's do 30 seconds. Team B, work on the animation Bible. Team C, show up some storyboards for other episodes. Team A will work on the 30 second and polish it up. And then we have like Team A... 0.5 who works on the second test animation. So it's oh, here's 2S test animations, and here's the process of us making it hand-drawn versus Flash, and the cost of hand-drawn, cost of Flash, the pros and cons of both, yada, yada, yada. I can see why it would be this short.
Right.
But I don't know. Like you said, it's just 30 seconds. It could have been panned out better. It could have been fleshed out a lot more. But from what I've seen, I would have wanted to see it more. I would have seen it slowed down. I just want an area to breathe. And I think for me, it's also an art style thing. I'm not a huge fan of the way Cortex looks. It gives me like Rick and Morty type vibes of the way his mouth moves and his face is structured.
I almost get like Cuphead vibes from...
really?
Yeah, I get Cuphead vibes.
Wow,
from both of them.
That's the first I've heard of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's in my opinion, I get very like the 20s, 30, but crossed with with that Rick and Morty aspect. I do see that Rick and Morty aspect, but I see inspirations of Cuphead in there as well. For me, I would have been, I need to see an episode. That's my judgment.
Yeah.
I need to see an episode, how it's paced, how's it voiced, how's it done. But at the moment, it's canceled. Now, here's the thing. The question becomes for me, because as I've said over and over again, I used to work in the animation industry. I know how this works. My question is, who canceled it and why? Because there's 3 situations here. If it was Activision that pulled the plug, because it's still unclear who pulled the plug. If Activision pulled the plug, it could have been because they were not happy with the direction that the animation team was going with it, and they pulled the plug and shelving it until another time for another team to pick it up. Or it could be because of COVID, and COVID's causing a hard time. So that's one situation. If the animation studio pulls the plug, that means that they have to pay out the fee that Activision was going to earn, like the licensing and stuff like that, would have to pay it out to them. And there would be a lot of legal hufflepuff going on here. If Amazon decided to pull the plug, then what happens here is that, because to my knowledge, Amazon itself wasn't the production company they were distributing, is that both the animation studio and Activision can still work together, but go find another distributor.
Yeah, see, from what I've heard mainly Amazon's the one that pulled the plug. I'm wondering if they just didn't see success in the cartoon. Maybe, I assume you said you heard the reason, but I can see that happening. But I can also see Amazon not wanting to work with Activision. I've heard like some mixed things about working with Activision in terms of like a TV series, because Netflix had the Skylanders show. Yeah, they had Skylanders Academy, and there's only 2 seasons. And the common hubbub about that is that Netflix hated working with Activision. I think they had unrealistic deadlines and demands for certain things, and it was like, hey, dude, this isn't our IP. We don't care. We're just distributing it. Yeah, but I could see Amazon also seeing like, oh, hey, Netflix, what did they do? Oh, really? Okay, we're just gonna pull the plug.
Yeah, there's a lot of ambiguity here, and we don't know the true answer, because I've been hearing a lot of different things from a lot of different people, and I don't think this is going to be the end, personally. From my personal thing, I don't think that this is going to be the end of the Crash Bandicoot animation. I still think that it's going to come back in some way, shape, or form. I think that there is a chance for it to come back, maybe in a different form, in a different light, but I don't know. I really don't know. All I'm saying is don't put a rest in peace on it, because there might be a comeback in some way, shape, or form. I don't know. That's just me talking. Because like I said, if it's the distributor that pulled out, then the animation studio and Activision can go and find someone else, right? If the animation studio pulled out, then Activision and Amazon can go find another animation team. If it was Activision that pulled out, it's possible that they could have shelved it for another time. We don't know. We really, really do not know. But you know what we do know? We know our love for our viewers. We know that they are awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in today, guys. We are everywhere with this podcast. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcast. I was going to say iTunes, but that's dead now, right? Man.
Yeah.
Can you tell I'm old?
Yeah, same. Let me plug in my iPhone so I can download iTunes. And wait, I don't have to do that anymore.
So we are everywhere. Make sure to, if you have a platform that you're listening to us and you can leave us a review, we would really appreciate it. Let us know how you feel about the podcast and if you like it. We are going to be coming back next week. Make sure to follow us on Twitter with @CanadianGuy with the extra H, because there's an imposter out there. And Shemp Official. We have a new channel.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a new channel that launched, Canadian Guy Plays. And also make sure to go subscribe to Shemp as well, because as always, he's creating awesome content. He's doing a lot of retro stuff. He's talking a lot about collecting games and their value and such like that. And it's such great content. And I think you guys should really go check it out. Carrier pigeons are probably got stopped at the border waiting to get seen through and they're probably dead. So if you send another carrier pigeon, we promise it probably won't get here on time. But we do still appreciate if a carrier pigeon were to come by one day. Is there anything else, Shemp?
I think that's it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as always, we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
3, 2, 1.